A man comes home with his girlfriend and he says he has a surprise. She gets excited about the man's house, but when she sees the maid, she asks who that person was. The man says that this person was his maid and that she had been working there for a long time. The maid tries to greet the woman, but the woman says that the maid was dirty. The maid says that she has actually been working all day and that she might be a little dirty. The woman says that she had realized that. Then the maid says that she would leave the two alone, but when she was leaving, the woman told her to come back as she needed to talk to her. The maid asks what the woman needed to talk about, and the woman said that she didn't like being treated that way by the employees and that she should be more respectful. The maid apologizes to the woman and says that it would never happen again. The man says that the maid was a great person and that she had been working with them for a long time. At that time, the woman said that she needed to go outside to breathe some air as she was feeling ill in that place. They then go outside and she asks why the man took away her authority in front of the officials, and he said that could never happen again. The man says that he didn't want to argue with the woman, but that the maid told her as if she were their family and that he wouldn't let her talk to her like that. She then tells them to talk about another matter and tells them that she wanted to buy her some new clothes. She said she wanted a new dress, but the man says that in their room there was a surprise for her and that she would really enjoy the surprise. She gets very excited about it and asks if it was a new dress, but he said it was a surprise. The woman says that she really liked to be surprised by her boyfriends, and then the man says that she could go to the bedroom to see what the surprise was, as he had some matters to be taken care of at that moment. As she was going to the bedroom, she notices that the maid was cleaning the house. She goes to the maid and asks her what she was doing and told her that she was cleaning the house the wrong way. The maid says that she always cleaned the house that way and that the man had never said anything about her work, but the woman says that from that moment on, she was the owner of that house and that she did not want the maid to argue with her. She then proceeds to tell the maid that she wanted her to do some things, such as cleaning the whole room again, moving the furniture, but the maid says that she just took orders from her boss. The woman then says that she didn't understand, because she was the boss at that moment. The maid tries to say something to the woman, but the woman tells her not to argue with her. She said that if the maid didn't want to do what she was telling her to do, she would soon be fired. She says that she needed the maid to understand that she was the one in charge of that house. From that moment on, she was the one in charge. The maid says she would do what the woman had asked, and the woman says she was already angry at the maid's voice and then leaves. She then goes to the bedroom and notices that there was a box on top of the bed, which makes her very excited. She says the man was very romantic and begins to open the box for the son inside. She realizes that the clothes that were there were not expensive and she is at a loss to understand what was going on. She sees that the clothes that were in that box were not expensive and that she would never wear that kind of clothes. She then says that she hoped that the gifts her mother-in-law would give her should be much more elegant, as she was very wealthy. She says that the man was being insufficient on that matter and that she hoped he would improve a lot. At this time, the maid was entering the room, but she realizes that the woman was talking to herself. The woman was saying that to be able to tolerate the man, who was an annoying person, he needed to be very rich. The maid then starts recording what the woman was saying, and the woman said she wanted to be a millionaire as she was next to the man now. She looks at one of the glasses that was inside the box and says that, although it is not a very expensive glass, she would wear it. She says that the man was mistaken in thinking that she loved him, as he would be disappointed to realize that what she really loved was money. Later, she goes to the maid and tells her that she needed her to make a cup of coffee for her. The maid then asks if the woman would like her to prepare something else for her, such as a piece of cake or something similar, but the woman said that she would never eat a piece of cake, as it is also a food for the poor. It still sends you to put on weight. The maid then asked if there was anything she could do, but the woman said there was nothing she could do to help her. She said that she liked very expensive things and that the maid would not know what it was, but the maid says that she knew many things. She then asked why the woman was treating her that way, but the woman says that she was just treating the maid as she deserved to be treated. She says that now that she was the head of that house, she needed to be respected and that she didn't want to be disrespected. She then says that if the maid took too long to prepare her coffee, she would go back to the kitchen and the maid wouldn't like it. As she leaves, the maid begins to wonder why the man would want to marry such a bad person. She said she needed to talk to him, but she didn't know if he would believe her. She says that the man didn't deserve to be next to a person as bad as the woman and starts crying because she can't help him. She then hands the woman a cup of coffee, but the woman says that the coffee was cold. She says the maid was so incompetent that she didn't know how to brew a cup of coffee. The maid said that it was worth it here, because she had just prepared that cup of coffee. The woman then says that since she didn't believe her, she was going to do something, and so she throws the coffee at the maid. The maid then asks why she is being treated that way and says that she did not deserve to be treated that way. The woman tells her that she didn't deserve to work there either and tells her to leave as she was being fired. The maid says that she had worked in that house for a long time and that she could not be fired, but the woman said that she was old and that she needed to be replaced by a new maid. She said she wanted her to leave and never come back. When she leaves, the woman said she couldn't believe the man would let that woman work there. Later, the woman was sitting on the couch with no man coming and ends up scaring her. He told her she didn't need to be frightened by his presence and asked her what she was doing. He says his mother was arriving that afternoon and the woman said that in that case, she would prepare to meet her. She then says that she wasn't feeling very well as the maid had made her sad. She said the maid never did anything she asked. She said that the maid had resigned and that she did not work there now. The man then asks if that was really true, as he didn't believe his maid had resigned. The woman asks if the man was saying she was a liar, but he said he hadn't said that. She then says that it was no longer important, as the maid had already left and that now it was all over. The man then tells him that he needed to settle some matters and that he would be coming home late. When he leaves, the woman says she didn't want to meet her mother-in-law. She says that if it wasn't for the money her mother-in-law had, she would never want to meet her, but since she was very rich, she would make her mother-in-law fall in love with her. Later, the woman walks up to the man and asks him if he liked the dress she was wearing. He said that she looked very beautiful and that if her mother saw her, she would like her very much. The woman asks if this was really going to happen, as she was very anxious to meet her boyfriend's mother. He tells her that she didn't have to worry about that, because his mother would like her very much and that they would get along very well. The woman asks the man if she would really get along with his mother and he says yes. He then tells them that they needed to leave to meet his mother. Later, they go to the man's mother and when they get there, she is excited to meet her mother-in-law. When she realizes it was the maid, she becomes furious and asks what she was doing there. She throws her drink at the maid and tells her that she couldn't believe she was still in that spot. After everything she had put her through. She says that the maid should understand that this place was not for her to be and that he should go back to cleaning the house. The man then asks the woman why she is treating the maid that way and she asks the man why he defends that maid so much. She tells the man that this woman was just a maid and that she should be treated that way, but the man says that he defended that maid because she was not his maid, but his mother. The lady says that she was the man's real mother and the woman seems to be very surprised by that. She asks how that could be possible, since that was the maid. The man then tells the woman that he was madly in love with her and that for this reason, he didn't see any flaws in her, but that his friends always said that she was a gold digger and that he shouldn't marry her, and he then decided to take that test to see who she really was. The lady says that she was by the woman's side during that day to see who she really was. She says that the woman had exaggerated the humiliations, but the woman says that it was all a big misunderstanding. The lady asks her if she was really going to say that everything she had done wrong to her was a misunderstanding. The man then asks if she had really treated her mother badly, but the woman said the lady was lying. The lady then tells her son that she was not lying, but that she had recorded what the woman had done to her so that her son could see it, and then shows the recording to him. He says he didn't want to see that recording anymore and so the woman asks them to get back together because she couldn't live without him. The lady says that the woman did not love her son and that she only loved his money, but she said that was a lie and that she loved the man very much. The man says that he didn't want to hear about it anymore and asks the woman to leave, but she said that they were going to get married and that they could get back together. He says he never wants to see the woman again and asks her to leave. She then said that she would leave, but that they would regret it. When she leaves, the lady apologizes to her son for finding out that way, but he says he now knew the whole truth.